everybody, my name is Ted Forbes and welcome back once again to another episode of The Art of Photography. And today we're going to announce the Holga projects, which is the first installment of our Summer of Holga. Now what does all this mean? Well, I do another podcast, in case you didn't know, with a friend of mine, Wade Griffith, who's an excellent photographer himself. And we do an audio-only podcast called The Photography Show that can be found on iTunes. And in one of the more recent episodes, we were talking about ways we could get you, the viewer, or you, the listener, engaged a little more in a community type way. And we're talking about doing personal projects, and it kind of came to mind, what if we did a group project that would be open to all viewers of the podcast, where you guys could get involved and we could have kind of a project going. And so Holga projects are kind of the result of that. So these are going to be going on all summer. And here's the deal. I have a Holga right here. Actually, I have 10 of these. And the plan is that we're going to send them out. So if you want to get involved, you can do so if you visit the project website, which is going to be theartofphotography.tv. And so if you go there and check it out, you'll notice how you can get involved, things like that. This is open to anybody in the world, so it's not limited to people in the US. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to send these cameras out. Each camera will go to 3 people. And so there's basically, these take medium format film, so there's 12 shots on the roll. And so you will get the camera, and if we have 3 people per camera, you will be assigned to 4 shots. Each camera will go out with some kind of theme, so you can take your shots based around that theme. Basically, if you get the camera in the mail and you're the first person, you take your 4 shots and you send it along to the next person. They send it along to the next and the next, and then it comes back to me. I will process all the film. Some of these will be loaded with color, some of them will be loaded with black and white. We'll figure that out, and you'll know what you're going to get when it comes in the mail. And then what we're going to do is basically take each roll of film and put it up on the website. Now, what's the point of this, and why are we using Holgas? Well, first of all, we're going to be sending these all over the place, and I had to buy a bunch of them, so we needed something that was fairly inexpensive. The Holga, I have a whole episode on that we did a couple years ago, but basically it's a cheap plastic camera with a meniscus lens, so single element. Every Holga is kind of different. They're kind of like thumbprints. There's no two alike. So each lens has a slightly different look. It's a very low fidelity quality look to it. But the point of this is to show that when you have one camera, the quality of pictures really are in the hands of the photographer and not so much the camera. And I'm hoping we'll be able to see that when we kind of compare the results. At the end of the summer, when we have everything compiled, the idea is that we're going to do a book. And I think that would be a really cool way to have people getting involved, people being able to submit photos, and these cameras that go around the world. So I think it's kind of a cool project, and I definitely want you, the viewer, to be involved. So once again, go to thephotography.show.tv, and it'll give you all the specifics of how you can get involved, and you'll send me an email and stuff like that. So anyway, but I want to talk a little bit about the Holga, if you are participating in this project, and what happens when you get it in the mail, and how do you use it. Okay, so let's talk real quick, some basic information of what the Holga is and how it works. Obviously, when you get one of these in the mail, they're very cheap. They take 120 medium format film. You really don't need to worry about that. Just know that there's film in there. I'm going to show you how that works. Essentially, on the back, you have these 2 brackets, and these will be preloaded with film, and I'll actually have these taped shut. And the reason is because these have a nasty habit of just coming off, and when they come off, light will expose the whole roll, and you lose your images. But basically, this is where the film goes inside the back, and when the back is put on, which when these go out, they will be preloaded and taped up, and you will see a little red window here. And the red window indicates there's a piece of backing paper on the actual film, and there's a little number that comes through this window. So if you're the first person in line, it will say the number 1 in there. And to take a picture, essentially all the control you have is you're going to do this crude focusing here, and then you flip the shutter, just like that. Now here's the deal, is the Holga does not self-advance the roll. So once you've taken the picture, if I take another one, you're going to get a double exposure. You'll have 2 shots on the same space on the film. So what I found is really handy for me is just to get in the habit of once you click the shutter, use this winder at the top, and you're going to wind this. You'll see the number move aside, and if that was shot number 1, you wind this until the number 2 comes up in that window. And then once you've taken the second shot, you wind it in the third, so on and so forth. There's 12 shots on a roll. The cameras will come with a little manifest, basically reminding everybody what shots they're assigned to. So if you have shots 1, 2, 3, and 4, don't shoot number 5. That's for the next person, okay? And so anyway, but one thing that helps me a lot is if I just get in the habit of once I shoot, you wind. Okay, so shoot, wind, shoot, wind. That way it's always ready, because what'll happen if you don't, even on the Holgas that I use for my own use, is you'll shoot the picture, and the next time you pick up the camera, you're like, did I wind it? What shot am I? You click it, you get a double exposure. Maybe you didn't want that. It's kind of part of the cheap charm here, but that's essentially what's happening. The only other controls you have on this camera, you have basically a very crude focusing system here. On the bottom of the camera, you can mount this on a tripod if you like, and there is a little switch here with a letter B and the letter N, and these stand for bulb and normal. So if I have this over on the bulb setting, the shutter stays open however long I have my finger down on this button. So really what you want to do is have this set to N, normal. That way when I click, it shuts the shutter before I come back up. So that's going to keep your shutter speed pretty fast. If you want to do a nighttime exposure and you need that bulb setting, this is where you would go. But that's the first thing you want to do when you are ready to shoot, is just make sure that's on the N setting. Then you can go ahead and focus. Shoot the picture, and you can wind. You do have two aperture switches here, one for shade and the other for sun. And the earlier Holgas, there was a manufacturing oversight and there actually was no aperture switch, so this button did nothing. These Holgas that I'm sending out do have apertures in them, so you can pay attention to the cloudy or sunny thing. If you shoot on the sun and you're in the cloud, it's just going to come out a little dark. Don't worry about it. Don't overthink the Holga. It really is pretty easy to use. You also have a hot shoe, so you can use a flash. Now, most of these are going to be loaded up with 400 ISO film, okay, and that will do pretty well for some indoors if it's bright enough, and a lot of outdoor shooting, shade, things like that. Even in bright sunlight, you can flip that aperture over and you're still going to get a good exposure. What you don't want to do is shoot this in really low light indoors. This isn't a Canon 5D. It's not a Nikon D7000 or anything like that. It's 400 ISO fixed, okay? So if you're going to shoot indoors in really low light, you can attach, I will not include one, but if you have a hot shoe flash, this does work, so you can put that in there and use that. I'd really recommend you just try and go outdoors and just shoot the Holga. If your flash for whatever reason doesn't work, you'll end up with blank shots on the roll, so you might want to, unless you really know what you're doing, just ignore that. But really that's all there is to a Holga, okay? And you'll notice too that when you put your eye in here, when you actually see your shots, that the framing isn't exactly perfect. I think you probably get more on the roll of film than you actually see in the viewfinder, so you can kind of take that into consideration as well. The focusing on here is pretty relative. You have a choice of, one dude, a family, a bunch of dudes, and a mountain. So, it's pretty crude in its ways, but that is all part of the charm of the Holga. So there you have it, Holga Projects. This is the first installment of our Summer of Holga. We're going to do some more stuff. I plan on hopefully doing a giveaway and some other things that you can do to submit photos, probably based around the whole toy camera concept. So anyway, I hope you want to get involved, and if you're interested, please check out the website and let us know, and we'd love to have a camera come your way in the next 3 months. So anyway, once again, this has been The Art of Photography, and thank you for watching.